So I've been thinking a lot lately about gaming apathy. As I get older, video games just aren't always as fun or magical as they were when I was a kid. I think that's kind of a normal thing, but even so, I'll occasionally pick up a game that totally captivates me. And it's really got me thinking about what makes video games fun for me now, especially as a game designer myself. In that line of thinking, I keep coming back to the gift of noticing. And what do I mean by that? When I first started studying user experience design in college, I had this worry that if I learned about what makes good design good and what makes bad design bad, I'd just become more irritated with all of the poorly designed things around me. That I'd be an insufferable grumpy old man complaining about the unintuitive button layouts in my car. So I initially approached Don Norman's book, The Design of Everyday Things, with some kind of unfounded caution. In this book, our boy Don talks about how products should be designed to be easy to use. They should guide the user to the right set of actions in a relatively effortless way. For example, door handles shouldn't need instructions. It should be clear just by the shape of them if they should be pushed or pulled. A handle is designed to be pulled, and people intuitively know to pull. The need for a sign on something as simple as a door is indicative of poor design. It's a great book, honestly, and as I had feared, it really did change the way I see the world around me. But instead of making me grumpier about bad design, it actually helped me appreciate good design. Because let's be honest, bad design is pretty easy to notice, but as the old adage goes, good design is invisible. Or at least really difficult to notice if you're not looking for it. Think about the design of your toothbrush. It's a pretty simple shape, but it is perfectly designed for brushing your teeth. The bristles are the right size, and they're angled to make it easy to reach the sides of your teeth. Commonly, even the handle is ergonomically shaped to fit just right in your hand. Toothbrushes are so simple, my kids were able to use them before they could speak in full sentences. Imagine if you had a toothbrush shaped like this. Bad design's easy to notice. And it's a good thing that your toothbrush isn't actually shaped like this. Instead, it's shaped like this. Good design, which I'm guessing most of you haven't really intentionally noticed while you brush your teeth. It's good design like this that most players don't always notice when they play games. They don't always notice it when they play the game that I'm working on, called Tethergeist. It's a precision platformer with tons of intentional design decisions to make movement fluid and satisfying, but most players just notice it feels good to play without really knowing all of the reasons why. In fact, you could go play yourself with the link in the description below and let me know if you notice any of the design decisions in our movement. Also, you can wishlist it there if you want. Anyway, I'm babbling and shamelessly self-promoting, so I should get back to the point of this video, how the gift of noticing can really be a fantastic remedy for gaming apathy. When I started developing video games 5 years ago, I had a similar worry that by learning how to make video games, it would somehow ruin the magic. That by knowing the inner workings of how games are programmed, they'd somehow feel less fun or less immersive. Thankfully, just like my experience with UX, it's been the opposite. And I feel like I enjoy gaming now just as much, if not more, than I ever have before. So the first thing I want to talk about is the value of noticing intentional design decisions in the games that you play. It's one thing to just play through a game and passively traverse the levels or learn the mechanics. It's a totally different thing to stop and try to understand what the designer was thinking when they made a particular level or mechanic, and then appreciate it for the experience that it is. I'll give you an example. I recently finally got around to playing through Cocoon by Geometric Interactive. It's this super cool isometric puzzle game where there are worlds within worlds, and you can travel between them as this kind of robot scarab thing. This whole game kind of melts your brain a bit. Anyway, there are so many fantastic design decisions. Some are pretty flashy, like the way you jump in and out of worlds, but others are kind of subtle. Look at this Vanta Black Stingray that acts as a sort of transporter sent from another world. It moves organically and is totally different from all of the otherwise mechanical creatures in the game. The material that holds the world here and the deific being you face at the end of the game also follow the same design principles with all of these deep, empty black shapes. They seem infinite and evoke a sense of mystery. Using this aesthetic for various objects and beings in the game is a subtle design decision made by the developers as they use this void-like blackness to indicate a greater power. Anything that is godlike in Cocoon is mysterious and organic. All of the other creatures that are mere mortals in this world take on a robotic aesthetic made of machine-like parts composed more of polygons than organic material, and that includes the playable character, communicating to you that you're no more important than the other machines crawling around you. The dark void, though, that's reserved for the divine in this world, like an endless black hole. It's such a cool, intentional design decision from the developer, and I feel like noticing stuff like this just really made Cocoon an even better experience for me than if I had just passively ignored it. Another benefit to the gift of noticing is taking time to really admire and soak in the atmosphere of a game. Every game has it, some more intentionally than not, and pausing to notice it can be really fulfilling in its own right. When's the last time you played Cuphead and took time to appreciate all of the characters dancing in the background? Or notice the underwater plants swaying in Dave the Diver, or admire the little dancing rocks and butterflies in Stardew Valley. A game designer somewhere took time to make that specifically to improve the game's atmosphere. We can all generally feel when a game has good atmosphere, but I think there's value to consciously noticing the things that make up that atmosphere. And finally, I think there's even value to noticing the things that are unintentional. I've recently been binging videos from Annie Austin about strange and unremarkable places in video games. You should check out those videos if that's something that resonates with you. Anyway, there's a certain thrill mixed with melancholy that comes with seeking out weird places in video games or looking for things that the developer didn't intend for you to notice. Like, look at this red paint and pepper grinder. It's the exact same shape, just mirrored, or like the really abrupt edges between snow and ground in Celeste, or even just how there's all sorts of weird behavior in the crowds in Mario Kart. It's all stuff the developer really didn't want you to intentionally look closely at, but noticing it has a sort of endearing charm to it. I don't know, maybe I'm just happy to see that other game devs are imperfect like me, but I think it's genuinely fun to notice these sorts of unintentional design elements in video games, especially if you can enjoy the game more as a result rather than using it as an excuse to criticize. Anyway, I don't really know where I'm going with the rest of this video. Suffice it to say that I just think we can do more to notice things in video games as we play them. And that gift of noticing, at least for me, has really brought back a lot of joy in gaming. It's different than it used to be. I used to want to be immersed in games and let the magic fool me into believing it was all real. But now I think it's just as fun to take a step back and appreciate the design decisions that have gone into games. Take time to imagine what the process must have been to make the game the way it is. Anyway, that's all I've got for now. Thanks for tuning in, and go ahead and subscribe if you'd like. Of course, I'd also be honored if you went over to Steam and checked out the game that I'm working on using the link below. With that, I'll catch you next time.